If the idea of extraterrestrials visiting Earth thousands of years ago still sounds unbelievable, maybe these ancient artworks will make you think twice. Across the globe, separated by oceans and centuries, civilizations created figures and carvings that look eerily similar to what we describe today as an astronaut. In the jungles of Guatemala, at the ancient Maya city of El Peru, Huaca, in 2022, archaeologists opened a royal tomb inside the main pyramid and found a set of ceramic figurines. But one of them was a warrior or elite figure wearing a fitted suit and a removable helmet. Could it be a memory of a figure who really wore protective equipment? Something akin to a modern spacesuit? Yes, the Maya were masters of symbolic art. But why make a helmet that can be taken off, unless they were trying to depict a real, functional object? From there, we move to Palenque, another Maya site in Mexico. Inside the Temple of the Inscriptions lies the famous sarcophagus lid of King Pakal. To mainstream archaeology, it's a symbolic scene of the king descending into the underworld. But look closely. Pakal appears to be in a reclining position, hands on controls, feet pressing against pedals, with flames or exhaust trailing behind him. To some researchers, it looks like the king is piloting a craft. The next clues can be found in Abydos, Egypt, where on the stone of the temple of Seti I are carvings that have sparked debate for decades. Among the usual hieroglyphs, there are shapes that look strikingly like a modern helicopter, airplane, and even a submarine. Some Egyptologists say this is just a palimpsest, old carvings overlapping with newer ones by accident. But did ancient artisans simply get lucky with these forms? Or were they recording something they'd actually seen? The resemblance is hard to ignore. Also, there are Japan's dog figurines, dating back over 2,000 years to the Jomon period. These small clay statues have large, goggle-like eyes, tight-fitting bodysuits, and strange protrusions that look like tubes or breathing apparatus. No one knows exactly what they were meant to represent. Mainstream theories say they could be fertility symbols or religious idols. But why the goggles? Why the body armor? If you saw this shape on a sci-fi movie poster today, you'd instantly think space traveler. We keep finding images and evidence like this all over the planet. And maybe these are indeed interpretations of beings and events people once witnessed. But if so, who or what were they? Honestly, we may never know for sure, and we can't claim with certainty. But many researchers believe that the figures we've just seen could be connected to beings who helped ancient peoples in ways we still struggle to explain. One of the strongest clues: the way some of the world's oldest and most mysterious sites are aligned with the stars. Alignment so precise it's hard to imagine they were done without advanced knowledge of astronomy. Let's start with Göbekli Tepe in modern-day Turkey. This site is over 11,000 years old, far older than Stonehenge or the pyramids. Massive stone circles, each with decorated pillars, were built long before the invention of writing or farming. Some researchers believe that parts of the site were positioned to track the rising of Sirius, the brightest star in the night sky. Others think carvings on certain pillars record a comet impact that may have changed the climate. But there's a debate. Mainstream archaeologists point out that the stones have shifted, been reused or moved over thousands of years, making exact alignments hard to prove. Still, how did hunter-gatherers even begin to think in such precise celestial terms? Moving forward in time, we come to the Great Pyramids of Giza. These structures, built over 4,500 years ago, are precisely aligned with the cardinal directions, and their layout matches the 3 stars in Orion's belt. To align such huge monuments so perfectly would require advanced surveying tools, or perhaps guidance from someone who had the knowledge already. The ancient Egyptians linked Orion to Osiris, the god of rebirth, which adds another layer of mystery. Were they marking the heavens for spiritual reasons, or for something they expected to return from that direction? Another example is Abu Simbel. Built by Pharaoh Ramses II, this temple is famous for an incredible phenomenon. Twice a year, on February 22nd and October 22nd, sunlight penetrates deep into the sanctuary to illuminate the statues of three gods, leaving only the statue of Ptah, the god of the underworld, in shadow. The precision required to achieve this is staggering, and it is not the end. Chichen Itza in Mexico is home to the Great Pyramid known as El Castillo. On the spring and autumn equinoxes, the setting sun creates the illusion of a giant serpent slithering down the pyramid's staircase. And as we already mentioned, the Maya linked this to Kukulkan, the same deity known as Quetzalcoatl to the Aztecs. When you put these examples together, you can clearly see a pattern starting to form. Across different times and continents, people built massive, perfectly aligned structures without the tools we consider necessary today. Were they simply masters of observation? Or were they following instructions from beings who had already mapped the sky? There's another theory about what ancient people might have seen in the skies, one that draws a direct line from ancient myths to modern UFO reports. If this is true, the fiery chariots, winged discs, and glowing skyboats of the past may not have been imagination or symbolism at all, but eyewitness accounts of the same kinds of craft people still claim to see today. Take the biblical prophet Ezekiel. In his vision, he describes a wheel within a wheel descending from the sky, shining like polished metal, with eyes all around its rim. He speaks of it lifting into the air and moving in any direction without turning. To a person in the 6th century BC, there were no words like aircraft or spaceship, so what else could he compare it to but a wheel? But read the description today, and it sounds strangely like a flying object with a rotating structure, lights, and an ability to hover and maneuver at will. Then there are Roman military records from around 100 BC. Soldiers reported seeing flaming shields racing across the sky, round, glowing shapes that moved silently overhead. At the time, they had no concept of UFOs, so they described what they knew, shields, but burning and flying. Fast forward almost 2,000 years, and 20th century pilots described eerily similar objects. During World War II, Allied airmen reported Foo Fighters, glowing spheres or discs that followed their planes. Many modern airline pilots and military personnel have given sworn testimony about luminous craft that can accelerate instantly and change direction in ways no human-made aircraft can. In recent decades, the reports haven't stopped. In fact, they've become even more intriguing. In 2004, US Navy pilots flying off the coast of California encountered what they called tic-tac UFOs, smooth, white, oval-shaped craft with no visible wings or engines. The pilot said these objects could drop from 80,000 feet to sea level in less than a second, then shoot away at impossible speeds. Official military videos of these encounters have since been declassified, showing the craft's movements that no known aircraft, civilian or military, can replicate. And in 2014 and 2015, Navy fighter pilots from the USS Theodore Roosevelt reported almost daily sightings of strange objects along the east coast of the United States. These UFOs could hover in strong winds, accelerate instantly, and even fly against the jet stream, all without any visible propulsion. Some pilots described them as spheres with cubes inside, an image that sounds like something from science fiction, yet it's part of the official record. Is any of this absolute proof? No. We can't say with certainty what these objects are. But isn't it strange that even in our modern, highly advanced age with satellites, radar, and powerful cameras, we still see things in the sky that we can't explain? Across the world, ancient traditions share a striking belief that one day the gods will return. From the Anunnaki in Mesopotamia to Quetzalcoatl in Mesoamerica, from the sky deities of Asia to the prophesied second coming in Christianity, there is a recurring theme, the promise of a return from above. If that's true, then maybe today's wave of UFO sightings isn't new at all. Maybe it's the continuation of the same story humanity has been telling for thousands of years, the gods of the sky still visiting, still watching. Perhaps they never left. But why the sky? Why not the oceans, the forests, or the mountains? One explanation is simple. If advanced beings truly visited Earth, the skies would be their natural entry point. To ancient people, these visitors would appear godlike, descending from the clouds in blazing chariots or glowing discs. In an infinite universe, the odds that life exists only here are vanishingly small. Some worlds may host primitive life, but others could be home to civilizations far beyond our own, capable of genetic engineering, capable of shaping early humanity.